Is this truly the end? In today's video, we're going to break down three major things happening right now that nobody's paying attention to. Buckle up.
I ain't gonna give in now, I ain't gonna live this now. I ain't gonna be man, I'ma kill this stuff real quick. I'ma go take it to town, cause I gotta be that king in their ring when I'm knocking them out when I'm back with the whip. Cause I am just up on the journey, know that I'm just going insane.
Warriors, rise. Grand rising, good evening, warriors all over the world. Is this the end of the monetary system as we know it? Let's take a look at facts, figures, numbers, logic. On the news, they're going to tell you that the banking system is good to go. Janet Yellen here is going to tell you that the banking system is safe and sound. Well, of course, if you have a printing machine, the ability just to hit a button, you can bail out at any moment. But the normal everyday citizen is sitting in a position now where the middle class is getting wiped out, leverage towards technology, moving down to the working poor. So I'm going to show you three major things that are happening within this video, and I'm going to share with what I think is happening. None of this is financial advice. I just spend my life devoted to studying macro and microeconomics. We have a 27-person team where we're constantly studying, constantly growing, and we're working harder on ourselves than we do anything else. There is no invisible enemy. Nobody's coming to save you. And nobody's going to stop you from being successful. Here's the good news. This is the greatest time in human history to shift your family's wealth timeline. There is no get rich quick. There is none. It does not exist. You need to become an intelligent investor and get your shit together. At the end of this video, I'm going to show you how we've helped over 6,000 people. All right, let's dive right into this, okay? So this is Janet Yellen. Now, the big old dog and pony show is going on right now. So I want to share with you guys. I want to back up just a moment. 2020, we got shut down, okay? Shock to the system. Our whole lives got flipped upside down. They turned the printing machine on full blast. More money than they printed in history. And I'm going to show you some couple crazy factors that you might not be paying attention to. Then a couple years later, can you believe that was a couple years ago? A couple years later, Russia invades Ukraine. Immediately, Biden works to take him off the SWIFT system. So supply or money narrative, right? The old archaic banking system. So Russia starts to go into their own financial. What are we going to do? What are we going to do? So Russia during this time, over a year, starts teaming up with China. Okay. We start protecting Ukraine. I'm just going to give you the facts, figures, numbers, logic. In 2022, they tell us cryptocurrency is a major fraud. The stablecoin collapse, 2 exchanges collapse. Then we go into 2023. They went from cryptocurrency as a fraud to congressional hearings fighting to keep cryptocurrency in America. As our SEC tries to push it overseas, okay, we have this narrative now of China versus the United States, which has been the 2 superpowers for a very long time. We have 3 factors going on, as Ray Dalio teaches us, that we have never experienced all 3 in our living history together: climate change, war narrative, and socio-geopolitical. The stuff that we never even paid attention to, we're fighting about now. The left and right are making us fight about things that we never even talked about. Okay. Again, I don't care if you wear a dress, do your job. I don't care if you're a man wearing a dress, do your job. You got us to fight about this stuff. You're pushing it in front of our face. So don't get disillusioned by this stuff. God is my present CEO. If that turns you off, I'm not the guy to follow. I'm not trying to get a bunch of followers and a bunch of likes and comments. I'm here to speak my truth on this social media platform and document my journey. So I'm going to show you the actual things that are happening. Now, this is Janet Yellen. I highly recommend you watch it. It's a long address to the United States around China and China and America's relationship. So we're going to watch this first to give it context. And then I'm going to share with you 3 major factors that are happening and what I think is going to happen next and what the narrative is around the financial system and what I'm doing. Okay, so let's watch this video and then we'll dive into it.
And I hope to build on them with my new counterpart. Beyond the macro economy, there are 2 specific global priorities I'd like to highlight today: debt overhang and climate change. These issues.
So climate change is going to be a massive narrative. ECG, environmental social governance, where they take the electric car narrative, right? And then they're going to take social geopolitical narrative, like things that are happening with the Bud Light commercial. Those things are being lumped into one thing, and companies are going to be held accountable to be having a diversified work environment. Okay, and electric is tied into that. It's an interesting thing. I'm not saying good, bad, indifferent. It's just what they're doing, and if you're not doing these things, you're not going to get your funding.
Can best be managed if both countries work together and in concert with our allies and partners. First, we must work together to help emerging markets in developing countries facing debt distress. The issue of global debt is not a bilateral issue between China and the United States. It is about responsible global leadership.
So basically, she's telling us everybody's in a debt crisis, guys. We're in a debt crisis. We're over 120% debt to income ratio. China's in a debt crisis. Look up Evergrande, their real estate system.
China's status as the world's largest official bilateral creditor imposes on it the same inescapable set of responsibilities as those on other official bilateral creditors when debt cannot be fully repaid.
Okay, so what she's talking about is debt servicing. So China is one of the biggest lenders. China and Japan are the top two countries that hold the most of our debt, and we have 33% of our debt outside the United States. So we're pretending there's this battle with China and America when China basically owns most of our debt.
China's participation is essential to meaningful debt relief, but for too long, it is not moved in a comprehensive and timely manner. It is served as a roadblock for necessary action. Earlier this year, I felt the urgency of debt relief firsthand when I visited Zambia. Government and business leaders spoke to me about how Zambia's debt overhang has held back critical public and private investment and depressed economic development.
Okay, so what she's talking about is debt overhang. So it's like they're trying to get like this violin. It's like we're fucked as Americans too. Well, our debt overhang is 120% debt to income ratio. If we sold all our products and services in America, we can't pay off our debt, guys. So yeah, Zambia's screwed, America's screwed, China's screwed. She keeps talking about debt overhang, debt relief. There's 4 ways you can fix this system based on Ray Dalio's debt crisis. Number 1 is you can print more money. Number 2 is you can move the money from the people that have it to the people that need it. Okay. Number 3, you can turn the printing machine back on, quantitative easing. Or number 4, you can stop spending. They're not going to stop spending.
But Zambia is not the only country in this situation.
And I don't think did I say restructured debt? One of them should be restructured debt if I said that correctly.
The IMF estimates that more than half of low-income countries are close to or already in debt distress. The United States has had extensive discussions with Beijing about the need for speedy debt treatment. We welcome China's recent provision of specific and credible financing assurances for Sri Lanka, which has enabled the IMF to move forward with the program. But now, all of Sri Lanka's bilateral creditors, including China, will need to deliver debt treatments in line with their assurances in a timely manner. We continue to urge China's full participation to provide debt treatments in other countries in line with IMF parameters. This includes urgent cases like Zambia and Ghana.
Okay, so she dives into, I watched this whole thing. It's basically about the China-America relationship. She's trying to build they say we're in war with them. We're battling with them, but she says she wants a good relationship with them. They basically service a bunch of people's debt while they're in debt as well. So this is Ray Dalio's Principles for Navigating a Big Debt Crisis. This is page 61 of, I think, their updated document here, okay? This talks about war economics. Now, I'm going to kind of start with what I'm going to end with. So when you have a system that is completely broken, unfortunately or fortunately, many times the last resort is war, okay? So Russia invaded Ukraine. America stepped in to help Ukraine. China is thinking about invading Taiwan. If China invades Taiwan, that's where we're connected to with their semiconductors. China invades Taiwan, America would go protect Taiwan. These are just things that I'm thinking about, right? So there is going to be a war narrative, guys. Now, war economics are totally different from regular economics in the term of what happens with the production, consumption, accounting for goods and services in a financial asset. For example, the increase in gross domestic product arising from the greater production of armaments, which get destroyed in the war, the reduce of employment rate due to the increase in military service, shifts in production and profitability arising from the top-down allocation of the resources. And the nature of borrowing, lending, and other capital flows are not the same as in the periods of peace. So understanding these statistics require a whole different orientation. So when you go into war, it's basically all the rules are thrown out the window, right? You can print more money, you can restructure debt. Trying to adequately convey how war economics work would take a whole different book. So I'm not going to delve deeply into that subject now, but I will touch on them briefly because there's certainly are important to understand in big debt crises that were captured within the sample period. They are very important to understand if we enter another war period. So we're in this dynamic where China's buried in debt, America's buried in debt. America has to keep raising the debt ceiling. Okay, it says win one. Within countries, there are economic conflicts between the rich, capitalist, political right, the poor, I can't pronounce that word, political left, head, the conflicts that result in populist, autocratic, nationalistic, and militaristic leaders come into power. Well, at the same time, okay, between countries, there are conflicts arise among, I'll break this down simplistically, arising among comparable strong economies, military powers. The relationship between two economies and politics become especially intertwined, and the probabilities of disruptive conflict. So one is saying socio-geopolitical, if I'm saying this correctly, if I'm not, I apologize, where right now we have the left and right going against each other in America. We have transgender versus non-transgender. We have BLM, all this stuff happening. These are all things that are designed to separate us. Okay, so now we're fighting in America against each other. Left and right are battling. Within the congressional hearings, they're battling. One's holding back the stablecoin, the other one's not holding back the stablecoin. So we have conflict within America, and we have conflict with China and Russia. So we have two of them going on at once. We have internal conflict and we have external conflict, which war brings monetary gain. From my understanding, the person who's invading or protecting increases GDP growth, and the one that's getting invaded, their GDP growth goes down. So if China attacks Taiwan and we protect Taiwan, so we're the protector and the invader is China, our GDP, their GDP's growth will go up. It will cause for wartime politics or economics, which they can print more money. And I could be speaking out of my ass right here, but this just makes sense to me logically, right? Based on how the facts are going. So this was on March 30th, 2023. U.S. money supply falling at its fastest rate since 1930. Since the Great Depression, the money supply is just skyrocketing down. So they jacked up the money supply and then, whoo, it's in a free fall now, straight down. So think about that. So what that has done with interest rates and inflation is the value of your dollar from 2020 to 2023. Okay. You have had a cumulative inflation of almost 17%. So what does that mean? So as you sit in 2020 and now you sit in 2023, within 2 years, if you make $100,000 a year, you actually now make 93, less than that. That'd be $83,000 a year. As you sit there, nothing changed in your income, but the expense and output is more expensive to buy milk and gas and homes. And at the same time, they're jacking up interest rates. And here's what the inflation looked like. 2020 inflation was really low. Money was being printed like it was going out of style. Boom, 2021, they start to jack it up. 2022, they took it through the roof. At the exact same time, they tell you cryptocurrency is a fraud. Boom, they collapse, turn off the money supply, they raise interest rates, and now they're joining the cryptocurrency game through stablecoin regulation. Congress is all about it now. They don't want to move it out of the country. My apologies, I'm on the wrong screen here. There we go. Okay, so there's one factor is happening, which is inflation. Your pay has basically gone down 17%, or it's 17 more expensive to survive. Okay, another thing that's happened is the money supply has dropped quicker than it has. Am I saying that right? U.S. money supply falling fastest rate since 1930. So that's number two. Okay. Then this is important to understand. I'm teaching you guys the game. U.S. bank lending slumps by most on record in the final weeks of March. So loans by commercial banks declined nearly 105 million. Deposits of U.S. banks decreased by in the 10th straight week. Now, this is really interesting right here. I want you guys to see this chart. Okay. So deposits now went negative. They went negative 5%. We haven't seen that since the 1930s, I think it is. So what's happening is people are pulling their money out of traditional deposits within the bank, and they're putting it into, I wouldn't say non-traditional. I don't even know if that's the right word, but things like this, guys. Look at this. Apple is offering 4%. This type of stuff is happening right now. The financial system is becoming decentralized. So the reason why you saw the Ripple case initiated in 2020, because it was the most innovative technology with real-time payments. They weren't ready for it yet. They weren't ready for it yet. So like, let's throw out a case. Let's slow this down. Let's slow this system down. All these people, if they figure it out, they could run into these decentralized applications. They could run their own banking system. You know, if they have governance within these like Xrpl, they could start their own system, their own bank, their own insurance companies. Think about that. They know what we're up against, what they're up against. So it's the biggest transition in history right now. So your money supply is just shut off. They shut off the money supply. Interest rates are going through the roof. Bonds have inverted. Okay. Deposits have gone negative. We're the liquidity. We are the liquidity. If we're not making money and we get wiped out, the middle class, there is no money in the system. Okay. So what does this mean? What am I doing? So number one is I am investing in a speculative asset called cryptocurrency. It's a speculative asset. It should not be your retirement. It's an investment where if we do it correctly and you have an exit plan going into the Bitcoin halving next year, this is the most critical time from here to the Bitcoin halving, most critical time to be accumulating. Most of you are going to start accumulating when it's too late, 100%. You're going to start accumulating when your friends get all excited about it. When your friends get excited about it, and they're starting to rush into it, they buy at the top. You should be selling at that point. Number two is you should be diversified outside of cryptocurrency, in crypto and outside of crypto. Number three is you have to rewire your brain. Everybody's telling you how to take action and get rich quick. You have to rewire the plumbing. We are indoctrinated to be poor. Okay, that's why I went broke for 3 times. That's why God has me here sharing this stuff. Because I finally said enough is enough. There's a reason why I knew how to earn. I just kept going broke. So now I understand earning is different than growing. There's earners and there's net worth people. So you earn, you secure, you grow. Okay. So we went through one big cycle. Now we're going into our second one after the Bitcoin halving coming up. So after the Bitcoin halving, we're really starting to build generational wealth. After you start to figure out that cycle, it's your job to teach the next generation. That is the shift in generational wealth. That is the shift, family. It doesn't matter how much money you make in the next bull run. If you make $100,000 a year and you don't have good money management skills, you don't understand wealth, and you make $1 million, you're going to have $1 million worth of bills. Nothing changes. Until you change, nothing changes. We don't teach get rich quick. We teach you to get your shit together here. Discipline, consistency in my 120-day challenge. Fitness, mindset, repairing the gut, repairing the mind, setting goals, understanding how to set goals, understanding how to budget and get your shit together so this isn't passed down to our kids. You need to draw the line in the sand. This is the greatest time in human history to do it. So after you watch this video I'm about to show you, we've helped over 6,000 warriors. In the video, it says 5,000. Since this video was recorded, 6,000 warriors worldwide. We have 15 to 30 people on average, well, about 15 on average, it's 30 some day, joining the academy every single day. 7 days for free, 60% of people stay. It's changing lives. The 120-day challenge changes lives. It's time to draw the line in the sand. I love you guys. I appreciate you. These are just facts, figures, numbers, logic. The biggest changes here, and it's the greatest time in human history. Nothing to fear. Take a deep breath, and I'll see you on the inside. Warriors! Get your shit together. Let's go.
Is designed to keep you trapped. 2017, I walked out of a high-paid vice president job because I was absolutely miserable. Working 16 to 19 hours a day because that's what the system taught me to do. And what I discovered through countless hours of meditation, research, reading books, understanding how the millionaires and billionaires operate, the system is designed to keep you trapped. Today, I own multiple companies. I travel all over the world. I'm financially free, and that's exactly why I created this community of like-minded warriors coming together called the 3T Warrior Academy. Now, I don't say this to brag. I'm sharing this with you to show you what's possible for you. Whether you're just starting out or you're looking to take your life to another level, we believe the Warrior Academy has something for everybody. Processes that take you step by step through discipline, consistent activities, and that's exactly what you're going to get. Our 120-day challenge, all you have to do is open up the app and take it day by day. We're going to take you through the discipline, consistent activities to take your life to the next level. Within 1 week, you're going to feel a difference. Within a month, people are going to notice a change in you. That's how powerful this 120-day challenge is. So if you're truly ready to break free from the old paradigm into a new paradigm of discipline, consistency, great relationship with your family, financial freedom, and learning the pillars of wealth that will change your life and generational wealth to come, I'm going to invite you to do our program for 7 days for free. The 120-day challenge has changed over 5,000 warriors' lives worldwide, and we hope to be yours next.
Warriors, let's get your together. Let's go.